Welcome to my Holy Land trip preparation video. My idea is to give you an overview of the trip that we're about to take in May. Obviously, I can't get into everything. This video is probably going to be too long as it is, but I'm going to try to give you an overview of the land and then show you some of the sites that we're going to see and hopefully whet your appetite for this trip. Our trip begins May 22nd and goes to June 2nd. Just in that period of time, we got a lot to see. We're going to be going from place to place. So it's hard to balance between staying enough time to get a feel for the place, but not spending too much time that we miss out on some of the other places we're going to go. We're going to do our best to balance that. Let me give you an overview of the land that we're going to be traveling to and traveling around. This is Israel. This is that part of the world where Israel sits. Let me give you an idea of how big Israel is. Israel, the tip of it would start here, come down the coast here, down, here's Gaza, this little part here, and down to Gulf of Aqaba, and come up here to the Dead Sea. There's a part that kind of comes around like this, and then a part that comes around like this, and then back up here to the point. This area here is labeled as West Bank. Some people, that's this area that's on the west side of the Jordan River. This is the Jordan River here. This is the West Bank. People either refer to the West Bank. Most people in Israel today are calling this Judea and Samaria based upon their biblical names. It's a very politically charged words that people are using. So that's that particular area. So the outside areas is all of known as Israel. So Israel, the length of Israel, if you start down here at the very, very bottom, very, very thin, all the way to the tip up here, that is about 260 miles. Not super long. It's a little more than Houston to Dallas, maybe Houston to McKinney. The area from here, the widest part of Israel, which we see it's not that wide for very long, is about 70 miles. So 260 miles by 70 miles. And then a big chunk of it is taken out with Gaza and West Bank. This is Israel, and the southern part, all of this area down here, is a lot of desert. So people have not lived there much, but Israel is taking strides to irrigate it and cultivate it, and more people are living there. They make it more and more livable. But most of the people live in Jerusalem here, Tel Aviv, or Haifa. That's the three major cities in Israel. But most of our time is going to be in this upper part here, because this is where most of the biblical narrative happens. Most of the biblical stories are in that particular area. So it makes it small areas, probably from Madisonville to Dallas, is where we're going to be traveling around. Let me zoom in here to give you a little bit better idea as to the area that we're going to be looking at. So let me come down here, zoom in a bit here. We will be starting in Tel Aviv. You'll be flying into Ben Gurion Airport, and then see if I can get the airport to pop up on there. Tel Aviv should be popping in here in a second, but actually I can show you where the airport is. There we go. Here it is, the airport. Tel Aviv is right here. You're real close. We're going to stay in a hotel. They're right on the coast. And then we're going to be making our way up the coast. And now I'm not going to do an exact order that we're going to be going in, because we got to kind of go here and there on different things, but we're going to go up the coast to Caesarea. And so we'll be heading up this direction near Caesarea, up in the north. This is where King Herod the Great built this huge harbor and city. It's where Peter went to share the gospel with first Gentiles. It's where Paul was in prison, went through trials. It's where leaders lived. It's a fabulous place. It's a great place to go. We'll be going there probably early on in this trip. Then we're going to make our way up kind of to the north part of Israel. And this general area here. Let me show you this area right up here is Mount Carmel. This is where Elijah fought the or had the battle, the contents with the prophets of Baal. This area right here is right on the edge of a big valley. Let me show you. So I'll zoom in here, show you this valley a little bit better here. This valley, you follow kind of the ridge. It's kind of hard to see exactly where the mountains are, but and the ridge kind of goes through here, down over this direction, back through here, around over this way, and back up that way. It kind of makes sort of an arrow. I kind of see the arrow pointing at the Mount Carmel. There's Mount Carmel. This valley is the Jezreel Valley. This is the Valley of Armageddon. We're going to go to Megiddo, let's see, which would be right about here. Looking into this valley, we'll see Armageddon comes from Har, meaning hill, and Megiddo, hill of Megiddo. So we go to Megiddo, we'll look over this valley, then we'll travel through here, we'll pass by Nazareth, and make our way up to the Sea of Galilee. This is just a crazy place to go look at and think about Armageddon while we're there. We're going to move up north here. Let me move up north. Right, should we get everything on the map we need to get on here? There we go. So we can come up north. We're going to spend some time in and around the Sea of Galilee. Here's the Sea of Galilee. We'll be in Tiberias, Magdala, Tonga, Capernaum, Bethsaida. This whole area is where Jesus spent a lot of his time in ministry. He went down to Jerusalem. We say went up to Jerusalem because every time you go to Jerusalem, you're going up, no matter if you're south, north, east, west, whatever, you're always going up. That's what it's in scripture. But our map, he's going down. But he spends most of his time in this area. So we're going to be spending our time in this area, looking at some of the places that Jesus walked around and ministered. It's going to be great. Then we're going to go up north. Up here is some big mountain. That's Mount Hermon, or Mount Hermon. This is the highest point in the area. The snow melts. There's snow. It melts, comes down here. There's a place right here called Caesarea Philippi, which we're going to go. This is where Jesus talked to Peter, who took his disciples there and said, who do the people say that I am? Eventually, Peter sends, you are Christ, the Son of the living God. There's so much background and context to this when we go up and look at that. Right near there is Tel Dan. This is where Jeroboam set up his calf and his temple and a place to worship. And we'll be looking at quite a bit of things in that area. It's very fascinating, but it's way up north. We'll make our way back down. There's a place down here on the south side of the Sea of Galilee where if you want to be baptized, there's a place that they have set aside to be a place for baptism. So if you want to be baptized, let me know. You pay like $10 or $15. They give you a robe, a certificate, and let you be baptized there. And so we need to talk about that if you're interested in that. Last trip I was on, I think, or a big trip, I think I baptized maybe 40 people or so. So if you want to be baptized, let me know. So this is the north area. We'll make our way down south. Let me get us down south now. There's a couple places along the way. There's Beit Shan, which is a big Roman city that they have excavated that we'll look at. Hopefully we'll get to Nablus. This will be later in the trip. This is in the West Bank, but we're hopefully going to get special permission to go in there and see that. Let me get down here to the bottom here. And this is the second half of the trip. We get down here. Second half of the trip, we're going to come down, go by Jericho, come down here to the Dead Sea. You get to swim in the Dead Sea, you get to float in the Dead Sea. We're going to go to Masada, which is the big fortress that Herod had built. And it's not in the scripture, but it's a very fascinating place to go. And it's a must go to when you come to Israel. Then we're going to go to En Gedi, which is just north of here. For here, En Gedi, this is where David hid out from Saul. Saul was chasing him through the mountains, through the Judean hills. He would hide out into these different caves and places of springs, and so that he could have water for his men and for his sheep when he was taking sheep around. Then we'll make our way back up to Jerusalem, and we'll be in and around Jerusalem quite a bit. There's so much to see there. The Mount of Olives and go to Gethsemane and the place where Jesus was crucified and tried, and There's all sorts of different things we're going to see there. So we'll take a part of it at a time in Jerusalem. And then when we're done, you make your way back up to the airport, and then you'll head off back home or wherever your trip is taking you. So let me show you. I know I'm trying to hustle through. That gives you the map. Let me show you a couple of those places. Again, just by giving you some pictures of explanation. As I mentioned, we'll start off in Tel Aviv, which is it's connected really to a little old town called Joppa or Jaffa. And they kind of grew into each other. Tel Aviv is a newer city. But Joppa is where Jonah went when he was trying to get away from God and trying to go to Tarshish rather than going to Nineveh. This is also where Peter was when the sheet came down. He had this vision of the sheet that came down, that God was trying to communicate to him that I want you to go to the Gentiles. We'll be in that place. That's where we'll begin our trip, is where the Gentiles, where God was communicating the gospel message, goes to the Gentiles, not just to the Jews. As I mentioned, we'll go up north to the Caesarea Maritima. There's a couple of different Caesareas, obviously. Caesarea Philippi, which is up north. This is Caesarea Maritima. So we're going to two different Caesareas. This is the place where King Herod built this great harbor and city. There's a shop from above. There's chariot races. And chariot races that occur here that have a big theater here. This is the harbor. This is fascinating. We'll go here, but this is one of the earlier places we'll go. Then we'll go up to Mount Carmel, as I mentioned. This is where Elijah had the battle with the prophets of Baal. That's the view from Mount Carmel up the Mediterranean Sea, right there on the coast. This is Har Megiddo, Mount Megiddo, overlooking the Jezreel Valley. And we'll go there and look at that, and you'll be able to see over the valley. Then we'll go to Capernaum. This is one of my favorite places to go. I love this place. There's so much history here. There's just fascinating, but it's also, it helps you visualize so many things, not just where Jesus may have been and what he was doing, where he was walking, but also some of the things that he may have been seeing when he was teaching. This is a synagogue that's there, that's right on top of the synagogue where Jesus would have been. We'll talk more about what their weird spaceship thing is, but this is where Peter's mother-in-law's house probably was, and that Jesus would have stayed. You can see that it's just a stone's throw from the synagogue. This is a fascinating place. I know you'll love it. I'll also go to Topka, which is a traditional place where the feeding of the 5,000 occurred. We will go to the Mount of Beatitudes. We don't know exactly where that is. There's a church that's built on the traditional site, but we can just go to the mountain somewhere too and read the Beatitudes or read the Sermon on the Mount. Probably Jesus did that sermon multiple times at different places. Probably somewhere along there we'll see. Go along here. Right. We'll go to Magdala. This is where Mary Magdalene is from, Mary from Magdala. This synagogue, this is the floor of the synagogue. This was here during the time of Jesus, and Jesus most assuredly would have been here and taught here, because it says he went in and around the synagogues in that area, and this is right there in this general region. You'll love that. This is the place where you can be baptized if you want to be baptized. So let me know if you want to go out. This is just on the south side of the Sea of Galilee and the Jordan River. This is when we go north up to Caesarea Philippi and to Dan. This is what that looks like. This is what they call the gates to hell. This will be fascinating when we get there. We'll talk more about that. One of the things I love doing is taking a ride on the Sea of Galilee in a boat. I usually see if I can get the boat driver to turn the motor off. You can just float and meditate and think about the fact that Jesus would have been on that lake a bunch in boats, but also walking on the water. If you want to know if you were somewhere near Jesus where he actually walked, he'd be on this water somewhere. Then we'll also go up on Mount Arbel. This is one of the things I always add to my trip. We'll go right up here on this peak. This view down here, this is a view from the peak. And you get to see, this is the Sea of Galilee. You got Tiberias and Magdala and Topka and Capernaum and Bethsaida. all around this coast, and so you can see all that from up there. And I believe this is a likely candidate for where Jesus gave the Great Commission. This point up here is about 600 feet above sea level, but it's much higher when you're up there because Sea of Galilee, I don't know if you know this, is 700 feet below sea level. And so this peak to the water is about 1,300 feet, but it's just 600 feet above sea level. But it's a beautiful, beautiful view. We'll go to Beit Shan, which is a large city excavation. You can get a feel for many of the cities by just going to this particular excavation. We'll go to Gideon Spring, where God took Gideon's men and whittled them down to 300 people. We'll go to a place called Shiloh or Shiloh. A lot of the names in Scripture are transliterated, and you can say them different ways. So you'll hear these said different ways. Shiloh, a lot of English people say it that. A lot of the people in Israel will say Shiloh. My friend Scott Stripling is the head of this dig. He's from Texas, Katy, Texas. And hopefully he's going to be there and give us kind of a special inside tour of this place. This is where the tabernacle was for 369 years. 369 years. The tabernacle's here. As long as the United States have been here. We got 250 years at counting, but 369 years the tabernacle was at this location. As I mentioned, we'll go to the Dead Sea, where you can float in the Dead Sea, put your hands and feet up in the air and float. It's fun to do. It's different. If you've got some cuts, be real careful because it'll sting, but hopefully you end up doing that. Be sure you bring some water shoes to wear, sandals or water shoes or something, because a lot of the places, it's kind of sharp. You get all the different minerals and things. It hurts your feet. So be sure you bring some water shoes. We'll go to Masada. Here's a picture of Masada, the fortress built up high up on this mountain. Here's a picture of Ein Gedi, where David hid out from Saul while Saul was chasing him. We'll also go to the Valley of Elah. This is where David fought Goliath. You had the Philistines on one side. You had the Israelites on the other side. You have the Valley of Elah between. And we'll go there. You pick up a stone or two and bring them home if you want. We're going to go back to Jerusalem. This view up here, the first view, is the view of Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, from the Mount of Olives. The view down below, that's the view of Mount of Olives from the Temple Mount. So you can see both views. Will be both places. And on the Mount of Olives, we'll go to Garden of Gethsemane, where you'll spend some time there in reflection and prayer and meditation, whatever you like. It's a very special time. This is where Jesus was when he was with his disciples before his crucifixion, where he was praying. And we're going to go to the city of David. Now, the city of David, just so you understand, the city of David is Jerusalem. It was what David built, but it was small. It's this area here. This is, getting right here again. This is the city of David here. This is a modern day area here. This is the Temple Mount right up here. This is the Temple Mount right up here. This has been excavated in the last probably 15, 20 years. It's fairly new. They are finding some amazing archaeological finds and things that confirm Scripture in so many different ways. We're not going to be able to see or hear all of it. There's so much there. They've been digging this for a while. We have a friend there that may be able to give us a kind of behind the scenes tour of some of this and explain some things to us. But this is fascinating. Yeah, I know you'll love this. We'll go down here at the base is the Pool Siloam. This is where Jesus healed his people. And then after that, he's healing them in the Pool Siloam. This area here is the Pool Siloam. That's all that used to be visible. When I was there for the past years, that's all you could see. They knew there was more to it. It was under houses. They couldn't dig under there, but they knew there was more. They just didn't know exactly how much more. Well, they're digging it right now, and they've done quite a bit of it. It is huge. It is deep. It is wide. It is long. And they think this was a huge mikvah, a ritual bath where people would go and dip in before they would go up to the temple, make their sacrifices. After they dipped in here, they would go up this. There's a road that comes right up here. They call it the Pilgrimage Road. Well, they just opened this. I mean, just opened like a couple months ago. They opened this where people could go up this road. Uh, Huckabee was there, and they had a big. I think maybe Rubio was. I can't remember who all was there, but it was a big deal. They opened this up, and we're going to be able to go up this road. But this road is underground now, but it used to not be. It's been under dirt. We dug this all out. This is where Jesus and the disciples, Mary and Joseph and others would have walked up this road from the Pool Siloam up to the temple to make their sacrifices. It is very, very special, and I'm excited to also go to the Temple Mount. This is the Temple Mount up here. We'll go up on the Temple. This is the Western Wall right here. We'll go into some tunnels underneath and back behind so we can go see some of the walls that were built from a long time ago. We'll hear some explanation of this. But this is the Western Wall. This is the Wailing Wall. This is a very special place. This is a very holy place for the Jews where they go and they offer their prayers. We'll go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. This is the place that is set aside for recognition of where Jesus was buried and where he rose again. It's there's churches and there's a bunch of different groups that are in charge of it, and there's incense and candles and all sorts of things that make this where it's just, for me, I don't enjoy it that much, but I do think it is probably the most likely place that Jesus was buried and rose again, and maybe even the place where he was crucified too. That's commemorated there as well. We'll be able to go see that. There's another place that people choose. They like it, I think, because it looks better. I like it too because it looks better. It's probably not the place based on some historical and archaeological evidence, but it's Jesus was crucified near Golgotha, or on Golgotha. And if you look, you can see this area. It looks like there may be like an eye socket there, and a nose there. So it looks like a skull. Golgotha means skull, the place of the skull. And so maybe this was Golgotha. Maybe he was crucified up here on top of this hill. At the base of the hill, we're looking from a garden where there is a tomb. And here's a picture of the tomb. There's a tomb there. There's a little trough here. You can put a stone there that could roll in and roll out. The tomb is empty. So it's possible this is the place. I don't think so, but it is a place you can go and kind of reflect and meditate. We'll go here and we will have a community. It's a very special time. I love going there. But again, I'm not sure it's the actual place. As I mentioned, we'll hopefully try to get to Gerizim and Ebal. Gerizim, this is about Gerizim. This is about Ebal. Down here in Nablus. This is where Moses told people of Israel, and where Joshua took the people, and he put half the 6 tribes over on this side and half the Israel on that side, the other 6 tribes. And they spoke blessings and cursing, saying, if we do this, we'll be blessed. If we do this, so we'll be cursed. And on this hill on the back side here, there's an altar that came from the time of Joshua, that they found this little piece that looks like a little tablet. It's very small, and this is something they use a lot of, but there's cursings on it. And so they think they found this altar where Joshua had this altar and had these blessings and cursings. And I would love to take you there. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. So there you go. There's a quick overview. There's so many other things that we're going to see and do. I can't get into all of it, but hopefully that whets your appetite and gets you excited. And I know this is going to be a special trip. It's been a special trip for everyone that's ever gone, for me and anyone else. And I know this is going to be a special trip for you.